That took a little doing. I didn't use the grinding wheel the whole time because I really couldn't get penetration into it through here. So I ended up using my drill and just drilling a bunch of holes and then tilting the drill and coming through and chopping it down. So what I'm going to do is neaten this up a little bit. There's some edges, so I'll use the grinding wheel to neaten those up. So I just came up with an idea that I really like. I don't know how much flotation it would actually add to the boat, but I do have these closed cell, like pool noodle type things that are made for making an ice rink. So they're kind of thicker and bigger, and I'm gonna fill the whole centerboard with it. I made a mark here, so I'm gonna cut it to that height. I'm gonna stretch it out like this and just jam it down inside and then top that. Alright, so I used some of this foam to fill in the larger gaps where the two pieces of closed cell meet. And now I'm gonna just put caulking over here, skim it over with my finger, let it dry. That'll take some time to dry, but we're gonna go with that. So next I'm gonna be working on replacing the seat that was here. There was a board. This was a two-part seat. It had the centerboard here, and it would go from here to here, and a second piece from there to there. And now that we're not using a centerboard because we're not sailing, we can go all the way across, using this as a support for the middle of the boat seat. Like I had said before, I'm going to be eliminating the front seat altogether and putting some kind of storage solution up there. So I bought some wood. We're going to make this two-part. And I know anybody who knows anything about boats for real is going to cringe because this is softwood and not hardwood. So my plan is to use this wood anyways. It's 1 by, meaning 1 inch thick, and I'm going to be coating it. I'm going to cut it, and I'll show you how I'm going to strengthen it. But I'm going to paint it with white primer before I assemble it, and then after I assemble it, I'm going to go back to the gel coat, that green there, and I'm going to actually paint the top side of the seat to match the boat. And in order to get my shape, I'm going to set the board up top and then trace it to the contour of the boat. So I put some tape on the boat sides so I could get a center on that support, because one of the backboard here is going to be all the way on, but the front board will not be all the way on. It'll be mostly on, but it will be off a little. And fortunately, there's 2 holes here. Each one of these will go into the board, which is what I had hoped for. So that's really going to help stabilize this bench. So now I'm going to trace out the lines, and then I'm going to use a handsaw to cut it. If you're not familiar with the way wood works, you can see that the grain is going like this. It's best to put the crown side up, so that way if they do buckle, a little water will roll off of them, kind of like in decking. So I've almost got the boards in. I put, if I didn't mention, I put the tape there so I could get the center of the, or figure out where the support is for the seat wood. And you can see that that's, the boards have to come forward to cover that. And so I'm going to have to do a little sanding here to bring this, because right now it's a little tight. But I do want to show the downfall. When you mark your lines on the bottom, that means you're sawing from the bottom, and usually so essentially the board was like this when I cut it, because my mark was here when I traced it, and so you have tear out on the wood. So that's the downfall to doing that, but I don't think it's anything we can't sand up and repair. Alright, I've got the seats dry fitted. Pretty happy with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some scrap wood here, and I'm going to cut it to length, probably about this wide, and attach it on the underside, both sides. That should really tie the boards together. Also, I want to use the same holes that are already in here. So I'm going to put some screws in here all the way down, some smaller screws, and then I'm going to tap on the boards and make indentations on the boards so I can drill holes through the wood, and then they'll attach right into the same existing spots. Over here I'll have to come up underneath and with a pencil and make a mark. I'm going to drill a pilot hole. I'm not going to put a through bolt. I've got 3/4 inch stainless steel screws I'm going to attach using those. The other seats had bolts, but I want this to be one continuous seat. I'll show you the washers that I'm going to use to fix the seats to here. This way, whenever I put the pressure down here on the boards to make my indents, there'll also be a pencil mark, hopefully. Using that pencil really paid off. You can see clearly where I should be drilling my holes. Alright, now we've got a lot of sanding to do. As you can see, these lines don't match up very well. There's our wood in the bottom. And I'm gonna drill out these holes just a little bit, one size up, so that there's a little more wiggle room when I put it in. But it's all ready to be sanded and then get its first coat of white paint. So the primers had some time to dry, and with the thought of mixing gel coat not being that appealing, and differing opinions that gel coat is not good for wood because it expands and contracts, the only thing I see is that these two boards do have a seam in between, so there could be some movement. So when I was at the hardware store, I picked this up, and it's pretty close to the color of the boat, so I think it's close enough that I'll be able to spray it on and get the color I'm looking for without going through all the gel coat nonsense. It wasn't so bad. I got 2 coats on. I'm gonna let that dry and then hit it with some polyurethane. Alright, so here's the finished product. It's got 2 coats of the seafoam green type paint and about 3 coats of polyurethane spray on. And this is the style of washer I was mentioning earlier that I would show you. This is like a decorative finish, so all 6 of them are going to be like that. It's stainless steel. I can't install it on the boat just now because, let me show you. I've begun painting. As you can see, this used to be the old green, and now it's the first coat of white paint. So I've got to roll the whole boat and get it painted up so that I can then put the seat in. I don't want to be painting around it, but I'll be back with another video on painting the boat.